Hello and welcome everyone, Simon here from the World of Wall Street. We have an update here on DigitalBits, that is XDB on the exchange. So this is actually, I cannot believe this, right? So we try and schedule as many videos as possible and some slip through the net. I haven't actually covered XDB properly for 2 months. I could not believe it when I was like, when was the last video done? 2 months ago. I cannot believe that. So apologies for all those XDB fans out there. But before going to the chart, because we have actually had some phenomenal moves since our last video on XDB, as well as some short-term interesting aspects of the chart that we can look at as well. But first and foremost, thank you so much to everyone that has subscribed to our channel. If you have not done so already, do smash the subscribe button as and when you can. And if you are new to the channel, welcome aboard. Hopefully you'll enjoy what you see and hear. But guys, thank you so much for the support. When I first started the channel about 2 or 3 months ago, or certainly properly a few months ago, I was sort of thinking, well, what's a good target for the end of the year? Let's try and get at least like 1,000 subscribers, and we're smashing through it. On our way to 3,000 already, guys. So that's incredible. Thank you so much. But let's not dwell too much on that. Let's go into DigitalBits. The first few things I wanted to point out. So last few days, there's been a couple announcements. So for example here, the AstraX, which is the custodial wallet. So it's a non-custodial wallet. Essentially, it's all online. So you can store, send and receive tokens on the DigitalBits blockchain. So DigitalBits, if you haven't watched that intro video or anything like that, it's a blockchain predominantly really around things like fan tokens, governance. It's very good for branding companies if they want to get involved in things like NFTs or like unique NFTs for their brand that you could maybe sell at events or in your shops and things like that. But there's of course other elements of blockchain like there is with everything else. But I kind of like DigitalBits in the sense that it's a bit more uniquely focused on a specific area of blockchain technology and what it offers to its customers. But yes, AstraX is basically allowing the sending and receiving of crypto. So a multitude of different assets on there. There's a lot of projects out there with wallet capabilities and things like that at the moment. So yeah, this is one that you can download as an extension on Chrome. So it's actually quite easy. I haven't downloaded it myself yet. We'll probably do a review on this maybe in a few days time. But especially around how it's perhaps used with XDB. So yeah, that's quite an interesting little partnership there. But obviously trying to improve and add to the ecosystem of XDB as it moves forwards. But to the point as well, when I mentioned about fan tokens thing, I thought I'd bring this to the attention. Now, this article is quite old, it's from May. So there's been a lot going on since then. But I think what's interesting is I never really thought about it this way. So I've been predominantly looking at DigitalBits personally at that sort of fan token aspect. They've obviously been doing a lot of brand awareness campaigns with the likes of AS Roma and Inter Milan, which we've covered quite a bit on. But I think what's quite interesting is this application of the brand. And this is the point I want to make in this video before we go into the chart. So this particular case study is around a cake shop and the ability to essentially pass over your money as you normally would. But of course, as we're entering a digital world, hopefully that would be cryptocurrency more and more as time goes by. So in order for you to get your cake, obviously you need to spend money and you get your cake. But then also you might receive some fan tokens. Now these fan tokens aren't just necessary for sport. They could be associated with that whole principle of loyalty programs, right? But the thing is, what I don't like about specific loyalty programs at the moment is they're quite dedicated to specific things. Wouldn't it be nice, right, if we could have a multitude of different fan tokens or loyalty points, essentially what they are, into one system that you could then utilize elsewhere in things that you have an interest in or you want to use. So obviously it's in particular for XDB, it's imperative that moving forward for this to work like really properly, to have XDB utilized with a multitude of brands and companies around the world. And I'm sure over time that will happen. But what's quite interesting here is this feature known as multi-hop technology. So this enables any asset on the network to be traded for another. Multi-hop removes barriers between closed loyalty point systems, making them more interoperable and accessible. This is when I talk about the uniqueness of a project. I think that's really cool. I'm sure there's a couple of others that do similar, but this is the kind of principle that I was mentioning just a minute ago. So let's say you've gone to maybe a Starbucks or something. You've got your loyalty points in XDB format that goes into your wallet, and I'm assuming maybe even that's what AstraX wallet has perhaps been helpful in bringing to the table as well. So you've got your tokens, but then you're like, I quite fancy a cake. So you're going for Starbucks. I don't really like Starbucks. I haven't been I think I went to Starbucks like 10 years ago once. I'm not a big fan of all this stuff, but I don't drink like tea or coffee or anything. It freaks me out. But whatever. So let's say you got your Starbucks coffee, but you're going, oh, do you know what? I'm going to go to a bakery. I want a cake. And it's that interoperability aspect that you've got all these loyalty points building up, but you're then going from this, like say this Starbucks, this nibbly baked goods, whatever this is called, and you can then transform your tokens you've got from Starbucks loyalty because it's been transferred into XDB arguably, and then you can output that into obtaining cakes or whatever in another shop. So I think it's quite good emphasis, and that's just like on a retail scale. What about like planes and travel, transportation, that sort of thing? Maybe even houses or rental of things. It could be a mixture of elements that help towards contributing rewards to something you want to do. I mean, you could look at it like, for example, with crypto.com. So I've just recently got the Visa card, and so has Steve. And of course, you're getting Crow rewards for everything that you spend on it. But then ultimately, that Crow, obviously, it could expand in price as crypto.com gets more popular. But even more so is you have then the ability to go, oh, right, I've got 10 Crow in my account that I've obtained from rewards. I'm going to transfer that into GBP or some other crypto asset or some other tokenomics to utilize now. So it's quite similar, but that's more of like a manual process. But imagine being able to do it in an automated interoperable system. And I think that's where DigitalBits becomes quite interesting. So this is just a mini kind of example that I thought I'd throw out there just to give a bit more of an understanding that DigitalBits isn't just about spending hundreds of millions of dollars on awareness campaigns. I mean, I think it was like over 100 million was spent with Inter Milan and AS Roma just for sponsorship on their shirts and things like that, which is incredible. So they've got a lot of money behind this, guys. But I just wanted to re-emphasize the points here of DigitalBits and what it's possible to do. This person here, Megan, I'd love my Optimum Air Miles and ESO points to be together. Maybe Starbucks and all this, that and the other. And it's kind of an influenced point from these guys to say, look, actually, this is possible on our blockchain. So I think as awareness keeps building for DigitalBits, I would like to see more awareness perhaps in other European countries as well as here in the UK. I'm sure that time will come. I can't remember where these guys are based. I thought it was Portugal. Maybe I got that completely wrong. But I think that's one of the key aspects. You can get XDB on KuCoin, by the way, which is where I was planning to get some. We'll go into that topic in a minute in the charts in a second. But there's a multitude of other exchanges that it's listed on. But I think like this is really interesting. So as the awareness keeps going, I think more and more people get used to it, and then of course you can start really delving into other things. The roadmap is quite interesting as well. I wish they would put a bit more detail in here. Now, I have reached out to them a couple of times on Twitter about a couple of things because, like, for example, here, first debit card adds XDB. Now, I couldn't really find anything as to whether that's actually occurred or not, and that was Q3. So maybe it's not been done yet. It's gone to Q4. But it'd be nice as an investor and someone that's interested in the project to really figure out, like, what has and hasn't been done. Like, there's a lot of new roadmaps out there, which I really love, where they do kind of like a tick box kind of thing. Like, once this is done, it's complete, it's ticked off, and you as an investor go, oh, wow, okay, yeah, they're keeping up to date. This is brilliant. When you're investing in something and you're looking at, like, maybe, okay, I'm not invested for it right now. I'm invested for it because I believe in it in maybe 6 months' time or a year's time or something like this. You wouldn't know what's coming up, right? Not to a full extent, because I know that's not possible for a business your acumen of your NDAs and information, confidential stuff, etc. But at least the fundamentals could be on there. So, you've got more exchange listings coming, applications integrated. So, yeah, I would like to see more and more of this. I know that they might just announce it as and when it happens, of course. But, yeah, I would like to see a bit more information. That's the only gripe I've got about DigitalBits at the moment. But in general, their website and all the information is pretty spot on and good and well explained, really, what they're trying to achieve and how they're trying to achieve that. But like I said, go and check out our intro videos on DigitalBits. But I think, this is going to be something that becomes quite big in the future for sure. And I think even at its current price, which we'll talk about in a second, it's probably quite low considering where this will go. And it's also interesting as well that how similar this is to other projects, but the price point is obviously slightly different. And of course, things like market cap, supply, demand do affect that, of course, which we'll touch upon in a second too. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring in a couple of elements of DigitalBits, what's happened recently, especially with the Astra wallet, and a couple of other items here, and just really emphasizing what's the situation behind DigitalBits. Why is it of interest? It's not, like I said, just about an awareness campaign. That's all great and well, spending marketing money, but what's the bread and butter of this? And it was actually quite interesting because I think someone on Twitter, I can't remember where it was, but they were sort of suggesting like, look, these things are great, the ideas are great, but you haven't activated some of them. And you know, there will be competitors out there looking at this kind of aspect and going, oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, but let's launch it quickly now. It's a race, guys, in this space right now. There's a multitude of competitors in all aspects of sectors of crypto. And I don't want to see DigitalBits putting all this money. It's great showing how much money you've got, guys, but show us what you're capable of and show us the action. Actions speak louder than words. I always say that in my work environment. So let's see how it goes. But I'm still really excited about this project. I'm not invested. Can you believe that? Let's talk about that right now. Smash the like button if you're loving the content, and do subscribe if you've not done so already. Welcome aboard. So guys, a couple of pointers. First of all, like I said, I haven't invested in this, and do you know why? Because when I first heard about this project, I was sort of up here, and it was like on a big tail up, and I think I remember in the video, I was like, oh, do you know what, I'm gonna wait for a correction. The correction never came. So actually, since this point here around June, which I think is one of the first videos that we did actually, since then we've had a 3,380% increase in gains. Absolutely gigantic. And since then as well, we've had the drop down of around about a 50% correction. We've gone back up around 100% since this point here on the 2nd of October, which was a 34-cent mark. Just for those that are listening rather than watching, this point around here on the 20th of June was at 2 cents. And we're at 60 now. It's crazy. The awareness is obviously working. The fan token aspect is obviously working in some countries. But yeah, once this starts pulling out the stops, guys, with its roadmap and being really specific on that, I truly think this can absolutely fly. Absolutely fly. I know the fib retracement is actually suggesting around about just under $3 price point for this run. We'll have to see. But I'm still waiting for a correction, stupidly. Obviously, as I said, I haven't spoken about this one for 2 months, which is ridiculous as well. And in that time, we did have a correction. Look at that. That would have been a perfect entry point for me who's missed out at 20. This is how crazy it is. And it actually raises a point, guys, in my opinion. And I speak from experience. There's so many amazing projects out there. And it's hard to sometimes pick and choose because you're like fearing of missing out on other ones. Not necessarily fear of missing out in terms of price gains, but actually like, oh wow, this project's good. Oh wow, this project's good. And there's so many emotional attachments sometimes to them, and you actually need to take that away and realize that this is just a number. It's just an investment. It's a company. It has no loyalty to you. It's just doing its thing, right? No matter what the price is, the company is still progressing. Now, obviously, from that point, is that I've got so many in my portfolio, I couldn't really add this at the time. I had no justification of extra cash of money to put into it. I could now, taking gains arguably from other things, but it's kind of pointless because you're just swapping things around for things that are having not necessarily similar gains, but similar traction. So it's kind of like, it makes no difference. Like it's almost like I'm doing it just to say I'm holding XDB, which is not what I want to do. So I might have to suck this one up personally and be like, this one I might have missed, just because that's my situation. Doesn't mean that's your situation. You might be brand new to crypto in general. You've missed all these early points. So what's the next kind of point? Well, critically for me is always looking for those dips. We had this one down here. I do possibly anticipate one coming down. This is why I've drawn this area in here around 49.50 cents. Again, I'm not sure if I have the capital or the profit taking from other aspects to put that in if it is the case. And I hope you appreciate that we're not just here to shill things or hype things up. I'm speaking honestly as to my situation. That doesn't mean that's your situation as well. So there's loads of different situations out there for different people. I've missed on 2 opportunities already in this space of time of starting these videos on XDB. Is there going to be a third? Possibly. I think it might be around this area, potentially. I mean, these next few days are quite interesting because, in fact, let's talk about that in a bit more detail. So we've got the long-term range fib retracement here, and the short-term I've just stuck in here as a guideline. But this area between here of 0.58, so 58 cents, and this 60 cents mark is really of interest. It's really bouncing around here the last few days. So that's kind of a trigger point in my opinion of we're almost leveling off this RSI towards a 50-55 mark. And that's where it kind of gets interesting to determine, what's this actually doing? Is it going to continue upwards, or are we going to come bouncing a bit down? And actually, I'll just quickly reduce this size here. Just going to have a look at this MACD section here. So you can see here the tail off is beginning on the buy-in of this project. Now, it could be that we're on the verge of a correction coming in. Not a massive one, I don't think. Because what's equally important to understand is these corrections that we've had and on the way have never been gigantic. And that emphasizes to me a couple of things. One, there's some long-term holders here. And 2, there's real belief in this project. It's not pump and dump, that's for sure. We've had a couple of Bitcoin days, understandably, and profits were taken. But look at that rejection of that. The profits were dropped because everyone got scared, and it just jumped back in. What does that tell you? It tells you there's an influx of confidence and trust in this project. This is what I like about it. Do you know what? If it does come down here, I'm going to make sure I have some available. If it comes down to around this 50 cent mark, miraculously, I'm taking it. I'm taking it. It might be not massive gains for the rest of the year, but I do want to get onto some equation of XDB. Not a gigantic amount, not a stupid amount, because I know that obviously we're not necessarily top end right now in terms of the historic aspect and where we're going in the next few months. Because I do believe XDB will progress over the years, and it is an argument. We've got a video coming out next week about the argument of what is and isn't going to be dropping into a bear market, because adoption is here. We're not like the few charts from 4 years ago, 8 years ago. This is a very different aspect. Of course there will be a drop, but maybe not as big. So if it does come down here, in my mind, 10 cents is a really nice, powerful number here. Sorry, 48 cents, not 40. I don't know what I was talking about. If it gets to 48 cents, that's 12 cents drop. I think that's, in my mind, quite a good little maneuver there if I was able to grab something. So I might put a small buy order in there and accumulate, because I do think we're going to have some really good gains for the rest of this year. And at least from this point, maybe even a three times. I'm not sure. But it's enough to hold some and start trading that. I think for me to gain momentum personally, I will looking to trade it upwards rather than sticking my own cash in. But guys, back to the point here, this bouncing around of this around this 58 to 60 cent mark is quite intriguing. It's really battling this upward and downward trend. This is why I think this area of interest is here for a potential correction in the maybe this week coming. The MACD looks like it's about to switch over as well to try and confirm that. But there's no reason. If XDB come out all of a sudden with a load of random roadmap updates, it could push it upwards, of course. But I'm just being cautious here. If you're investing right now, not financial advice, of course, but just be anticipating that this could be a good entry point, but just be anticipating that we might drop down a bit just because of the momentum's not quite kicking us up as we want it to be, in my opinion, confidently. That's not to say it won't, but I'm just being cautious. Okay, so there might be an opportunity to have a drop here. But, of course, in this mentality here, is this wave opportunity of confidence. Could it push us up to these next levels, at least to 63? If we start boosting up to 63, touching this point and jumping around here and pushing upwards, that's fine. But it looks like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're on our 7th day. We've been rejected so far 7 days in a row on this project at that 63-ish cents, 62 cents. So yeah, it's very much buzzing around here. So I'm waiting just to see if I can grab some. If it doesn't come down here, I'm not going for it. Personally. You guys need to do your own research, check out our videos of XDB, check out other channels as well, get their opinions, build a consensus in your own mind. What's your strategy as well in terms of the price points you're trying to achieve, and is that achievable in general? Like I said, fib retracement is a relatively good guideline. A long-term one was showing around just under $3. So from this point of 60 cents, is that a big enough gain in your mind? I'm sure there's a load of other projects out there that you can do similar things with as well. But that aside, XDB is phenomenal. I think it's a really good one for the future, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it develops. I do believe in it in the long term, but I'm happy to wait to see if there's a bear market for it. Like I said, I've got so many portfolio projects right now. I'm not sort of sat there crying that I've missed out. I'm disappointed that I haven't got any, but I'm not going to just jump in for the sake of it. And I hope you don't do that either. So guys, I hope you found this interesting. We will cover XDB more often. What I'm going to try and do is perhaps collate some like NFT or fan token based projects into one video. It's very difficult for us to do individual videos all the time, but certainly for XDB, we will try and cover this more often. Certainly a lot better than every 2 months. That's appalling, and I do apologize for that. But we'll try and at least cover it once a week, or if anything critical happens. I'll give you that promise. If anything critical happens, we'll jump in, but we'll certainly at least do an update once a week. Guys, I hope you found this interesting, and hopefully give you a bit more thought process around XDB and what its other capabilities are. And we will see you in the next video with XDB. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye bye.